Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone and good morning Ma'am Nikmatuni Aya SAMSI EKT. Let me introduce myself. My name is Umi Febrian Arrfaiz. Today I want to present about the final project proposal. The title is Analysis of Tax Accounting Article 23 at the Enviromental and Forestry Service of Central Java Province in 2024. Okay. Today, this presentation structure is number one is background, number two is formulating of problem, number three is research purposes, number four is benefit of research, number five is literature review, and the last research methodology. Okay, next move on to the background. The Republic of Indonesia is a country of law that upholds the right and obligation of citizens. Indonesian citizens who meet the requirements are required to pay tax as a mandatory contribution to the needs of the state and the implementation of the national development. In accordance with the Law Number 36 of 2008, one type of tax is income tax Article 23. This tax collection system uses a withholding system. There a third party calculates the amount of tax to be paid. In the Article 23, tax is imposed on income tax from domestic corporate taxpayer and is imposed at 2% from those who have a NPWP and 4% for those who do not. Okay, next move on to the formulating of the problem. The problem one is how is the application of accounting, deduction, and reporting of the Article 23 income tax at the Environmental and Forestry Service of Central Java Province, and the problem two is how is the conformity of the calculation, deduction, and reporting of Article 23 income tax at the Environmental and Forestry Service of Central Java Province in 2024 with the Taxation Law Number 36 of 2008 concerning income tax. Okay, next move on to the research purposes. The first is to find out how to apply the calculation, deduction, and payment of income tax Article 23 according to Law Number 36 of 2008 at the Environmental and Forestry Service of Central Java Province, and the second is to find out the conformity in the calculation, deduction and reporting of income tax Article 23 at the Environmental and Forestry Service of Central Java Province in 2024 with the Taxation Law Number 36 of 2008 concerning income tax. Okay, next, benefit of research, defined into three benefits. The first is for students to be able to add and compare the conformity between the calculation, deduction, and reporting of the Income Tax Article 23 at the Environmental and Forestry Service of Central Java Province in 2024 with the Taxation Law Number 36 of 2008 concerning income tax. The second is this research can provide additional information for the Environmental and Forestry Service of Central Java Province regarding income tax Article 23 in accordance with the taxation law. And the last is as additional information and preference for further research, especially those related to income tax Article 23. Next, move on to the literature review. In the literature review, defined into 4 points. The first point is taxation. The second point is definition income tax. The third point is Article 23, income tax withholding, and the last objects and rates of income tax Article 23. Okay, next move on to the tax section. In tax section consists of taxation definition, tax function, division of tax law, and tax collection system. Tax definition. Tax is mandatory contribution to the state owned by individual or bodies that is mandatory based on the law without receive direct compensation and is used for state needs for the great prosperity of the people. And the tax function defined into 4 points. The first point is budget function. The second is regulation function. The third is stability function. And the last, income distribution function. And division of the tax law defined into two. The first is material tax law, creates norms that explain condition, and the second is formal tax law, is the regulation on how to implement material law. And the taxation collection system, the first is official assessment system, the second is self-assessment system, and the last withholding system. Next, move on to the definition income tax. Definition income tax. Income tax is the tax imposed on the income of individual companies of or the other legal entities. And the basis of imposing the tax comes from movable and immovable object income from a business income of government official, pension and periodic payments. And income tax Article 23 is tax withheld on income derived from capital, profit of service, or gift and awards are other than those withheld under PPH Article 21 and is the tax withheld on income received or obtained by domestic taxpayer, individual or corporates, and prepayment establishment derived from capital, profit of service, or implementation of activities other than those withheld. Next, move on to the Article 23 tax, income tax withholding. Article 23 income tax tax deduction consists of government agency, domestic corporate tax subject, activity organizer, permanent establishment, other overseas company representative, and individual as curtailed domestic taxpayer. Okay, next. The object of rates of income tax Article 23. There are two types of rates that apply, namely 15% and 2% depending on tax object in Indonesia. And impose 15% of the gross amount on dividends and gift on awards, and impose 2% of the gross amount on rent and other income in connection with the use of states expert for land and building rent. Impose 2% of the gross amount on compensation for technical service, management service, con- construction service, and consulting service. And the last impose 2% of the gross amount on compensation for the other service, for example, appraisal service, accounting, bookkeeping, and financial report service. Okay, next move on to the research methodology defined into 4 points. The first point is definition research method. The second point is data classification. The third point is method of collecting data, and the last data analysis methods. Okay, definition research method is an effort to investigate and track a problem using scientific methods carefully and to collect, process, analyze data and draw conclusions systematically and objectively in order to solve a problem or test hypothesis to obtain knowledge that is useful for human life. Okay, next, data classification. Data based on its nature. The first is quantitative data. Is according to Kuncoro 2021, quantitative data is data that can be measured and calculated directly regarding information or explanation in the form of number or statistic. And the second is qualitative data. According to Sugiono 2018, qualitative research methods are research methods based on philosophy which are used to research in scientific condition are instrument data collection technique and qualitative analysis emphasize more on meaning. Next, move on to data classification and data based on search. The first is primary data according to Sugiono 2019, 2016. Primary data is data source that directly provide data to data collection, and primary data source are obtained through interview with research subject and through direct observation in the field. And the second is secondary data. According to Hussein Umar, 2013, data has been further processed and presented either by the primary data collector or by other parties. For example, is form of table and or diagrams. Next, move on to the method of collecting data. The first is interview. Interview is data collection technique that involves direct interaction between researcher and research participants. In other words, interview are data collector techniques carried out through face-to-face and direct question and answer between research and search. And the second is documentation. Documentation involves collecting data from documents, archives, or other written material related to the research phenomena. The document used can be in the form of notes, report, letter, books, or the other official document. Okay, next move on to the data analysis method. Data analysis method used on in this study is descriptive analysis, where is the study was deduced by collecting and analyzing the calculated data and providing information. And the analysis process can be started by collecting data and information obtained from the Central Java Province Environment and Forestry Service, then processing the data and information obtained, and the result of the analysis can be used to draw conclusions and suggest that are considered necessary to improve the problem faced. Okay, and this research schedule. Okay, that's all my presentation today about the final project proposal. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.